This is our main
Main focus. Okay. Hi. Good evening. Good
yeah.
evening. Good
Hello,
evening.
everyone. Hi. Welcome to. This is not beer, but welcome to.
Welcome to Marriage Monday. We are back.
And there she goes.
Oh, tell me to watch you.
Right. I'm gonna do
All
some sharing
right.
as usual.
It's hot.
All right.
Oh, give everybody a chance to get on. Hello. I'm not sure who's on mine. I see one popped up. Oh, whoo. Yes. Yeah, we are moving and shaking.
So I know last week we were we had to skip last week. Because life. Why did we skip last week, baby?
We skipped last week because we officially opened our new location for Uncle Renz, popcorn, and snowballs,
Yay, yay!
and all kinds of chocolate treats. Joycelyn, hey Joycelyn, Plez, I think
Yep.
Plez, hey Plez.
Please.
So last week we were at the popcorn shop,
Yes.
and we could not get home in time enough to get on here. So we knew we'd be running super late. So we thought it would just be best for us to cancel last week and hit it again tonight.
Yep.
We're a little bit late because we are running again from the popcorn shop. I went from Tanil, went from the daycare center earlier today, um, over to supposedly going to do a membership at Restaurant Depot, but we ended up doing a few more things because we had to place a few more orders, pick up some more supplies. But that is the nature of it. So I ended up not making it back to the daycare, but ended up staying at the shop.
What's the name of the title? Go ahead, say the
Huh?
title. I need you to say the title so I can
Right there. It's actually just dealing with your
Oh.
spouse's stuff. You had how on here, and I actually repeated
I'm
it.
adding
So
stuff.
the title of our discussion is dealing with your spouse's stuff.
That's right.
Dealing with your spouse's stuff. Yeah, red from your shirt. Okay. So he's going to finish sharing. He's let him get up and finish his sharing, and we're going to get started. Please join in tonight. Give us your thoughts. Give us your feedback.
Share.
Share.
I'll spell
Because, yeah, you did spell it wrong. There it is. So, because you never know who you may be helping. Hey, Nate, we just left you. My sister. So, you never know who you may be helping. This is our main camera here.
Yes.
Okay, this is our main camera here, you all. So, for you all who are joining us on YouTube, does this stay here? Thank you for being here on YouTube. Everyone, we would love for you all to join us on YouTube. Our YouTube channel is Tag Team Marriage on YouTube. So if you guys would go there, like and subscribe. We're trying to get all of this into one because right now we still have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Yep.
5 sources going, and we love to get down to 1. So while he's doing that still, let me show you all this. We always have this board behind us. This is something that was at our encore wedding in February. A cord of 3 strands is not easily broken. Ecclesiastes 4:12. So let's see over here, see it over there, and over here. Okay. So this is our foundation, you all. Having that 3-strand cord that holds us, and of course that would be him, that would be me, and that would be our Father. Yeah, keeping us together. All right, are we ready?
So let's go for it.
This is.
That's me. YouTube.
So what's our block? What's our main
That
one?
one.
Okay, I can't. blocking me. That has to slide right.
It's blocking. It's not blocking you per se. You're on camera.
I just can't see.
You can see that part, which is important.
Okay, that works.
So, how to deal with your spouse's stuff. Thank you guys for being patient with me while I try to get the last camera set up. Look, before we get there though, we got to say this. I need you guys to understand this. Y'all know that we are having our primary wedding on our box office wedding, February 20th, 2021. I know we keep saying this every week, but this for real. We got to turn in numbers this week. So if you plan on, I'm not gonna give you the whole sales pitch of it being at the Georgia Aquarium in front of the big tanks where we're getting married.
Because it is at the Georgia
And I'm not gonna give you the sales pitch of the fact that it's catered by Wolfgang Puck. I'm not gonna sell you on all the elegance and all the fun we're gonna have. I'm just telling y'all right now, we are turning in numbers and solidifying the contract on Friday.
And you all are invited. For you all are not catching it, everyone.
So if you have not
invited,
if you haven't been to www.tagteamwedding.com,
www.tagteamwedding.com. Just say it a little bit smoother. Tagteamwedding.com
to RSVP
and RSVP.
You ain't coming.
You'll be missing it, but yet you are. But yet we are.
Shush it up.
Subtle. So
all right, that's the deal.
So now, the wedding is Saturday, February the 20th, 2021 at the Georgia Aquarium. Go to the website, submit your RSVP. We don't want any monetary gifts. We don't want any envelopes.
I do.
Our gift is you.
I'll take your envelopes.
So if you have not had, we are up to 100 and about 120 guests.
Yep.
We are maxing out. We are making these changes, but that's it. Friday is it. So if you want to join us and you want to be there, go to the website, submit your RSVP.
From Philly.
All right.
All right. So we're going to get into this conversation tonight because we ain't going to hold y'all too long.
Our shirts. We got shirts. Always our shirts.
Power couple. All right.
Power couple. All right.
Power couple.
Hey, Kiana.
So here's the deal, people. This is what we're talking about tonight. How do you deal? Even though it's my baby wrote dealing with your spouse and stuff. But how do we deal with our spouse's stuff? What is the stuff?
Woo. The stuff.
Yes, what is the stuff?
The stuff can be a lot.
You're now going to be entertained by Donna Reed.
The stuff can be a lot. Stuff can be reasons of mistrust, why a person may have a lack of trust. Stuff is that disturbs your life, that keeps you from having that peace with your spouse, and even keeps you having a lack of peace with yourself.
Yeah.
And sometimes these things, that stuff, is not even your fault. It's not even your fault. And we tend to carry stuff. Bag lady. Erykah Badu had a bag lady. You gonna hurt your back carrying all them bags like that. If y'all don't understand that song, go listen to the song and listen to the message of the song. You have to let that stuff go. Unpack your baggage. Unpack it. But dealing with your spouse's stuff. How do I deal with his stuff? How does he deal with my stuff?
That's right. I don't have no stuff, but we're going to talk like we do anyway. So I do want to say this before we get started. Here's the overarching idea. If I'm holding on to my stuff, I can't hold on to my baby. I got to let go of the stuff.
Do that again.
In order to hold on to my baby. You understand? So it is paramount that you get, no matter what you get out of this, get the fact that if your hands are full of you holding on to your stuff, your mind is full of holding on to your stuff, your behavior, your attitude, your culture, all these things are holding on to your stuff. You can't latch on to nothing else. You can't hold on to nothing else. You know, it becomes way more than the straw that broke the camel back. You're carrying a burden that you should not be carrying, because now you can't even enjoy the beauty of having a spouse. And as we always say in our tagline, why are you here?
Why are you here?
Why are you here? If you're here, if you want to hold on to your stuff, just date. Just date, and date a bunch of people too.
Yeah.
Don't get caught up with any one person. Date everybody. Whole spectrum of people. Spectrum. All of them.
How many?
Spectrum. Date the whole spectrum. Get the whole spectrum. Get all of them. Because if you're holding on to, like what I said to my baby earlier when we was discussing this and going over our notes, right? And am I going too much $1,000?
No.
That's it. Okay, so like imagine, if you will, if you had a $1,001,000, right? But because somebody stole from you at one point, you had a mate that stole from you. You have $1,000 in one bank account and you have $1 million in the other bank account. Now you tell your spouse that I got $1,000 that we both have access to, but you holding on to this $1 million they don't know about. Now your spouse comes in, and it's a good spouse, because that's why you're there. You're a good spouse. You've been blessed. You've been asking. You've been wishing and hoping and praying, meditating on it, burning sage, lighting candles, everything, sitting at your grandmama's knee, getting it all in to get this one good spouse. You got that one good spouse, and you just give them access to the $1,000. That one good spouse takes that $1,000, turn it into $2,000. That's how much that's the ability of having a good spouse. Now, you sitting there and you happy, but something bothering you. You know what's bothering you? The fact you got this 1 million over here. Now you think you feel safe because you got this 1 million in this account, but you know that spouse could have turned your 1 million into 2 million, but it never happens because you never gave access to your spouse to the 1 million. Just the 1,000.
Because of your stuff.
Because of your stuff. Because somebody stole from you one time. Somebody abused you one time. So let me put it in context for you. Somebody abused you sexually one time, but now you holding back from opening yourself up sexually with your spouse. Somebody abused you one time physically, so now you're holding yourself back from having fun with your spouse. Somebody hurt you and broke up with you after y'all was supposed to be married forever, and y'all had promised each other, you're my sweetheart and I'm going to marry you forever, and they broke up with you and they hurt you real bad. But now you can't give your spouse your whole heart. You giving your spouse $1,000 and he flip it into 2, but he could have turned your 1 million and flipped it into 2 million. Could have turned your heart into something that's big and wide and happy. Could have flipped had you swinging from the chandeliers, but you can't swing from the chandeliers because somebody hurt you sexually once before. You know, you got to be able to let go so that you and your spouse can truly epitomize what it is to become one and to love each other at a level that is beyond your understanding. Right? So the question is, how do we identify our stuff? How do you guys identify your stuff? Do you know what your stuff is?
And the whole point of dealing with your spouse's stuff is sometimes we don't recognize our stuff. We don't recognize the baggage that we have. We don't recognize how we're affecting our spouse and how we're tearing our relationships down because of our stuff, because of all of that stuff.
Right. You keep getting in arguments all the time. You keep fighting.
It is his fault.
Having quiet time away from each other where y'all don't speak for hours or days. Some people they in marriage they barely speak to each other.
Right.
You know, don't go nowhere together. Don't date.
Right.
Why? Because you're mad. You're hurt.
So always go back to the point. Our point. Why are you here? So if your spouse helps you to recognize some problems that you may have that's affecting, even if they see it's affecting you, if they see that, you have to understand that it's going to take you to admit the problem. You have to admit that you have the problem. And they have to come to you in a manner where you won't jump on the defensive. But more than likely, when we don't know we have stuff or we don't want to face our stuff, we're going to jump on the defense.
Yep.
We're going to be on the defensive. So we have to learn to admit our stuff and realize and recognize that there is stuff that's not helping our relationship.
Right. Because, like, you have to, if you think about it, we always deal with the fruit and never the root. We got to get down to the root of the problem.
Right.
Like, I don't like the way you don't like the way they leave their shoes on the floor, or you don't like the way they speak to you in the morning or not speak to you in the morning. You don't. It's something about them that you don't like it, and you keep on having arguments about it. You keep fussing about it. You keep taking molehills and making them into mountains because you're just dealing with the symptoms of the problem, right? You're not dealing with the core, the root of this issue. It's like, okay, and I'm gonna go there for a second. And we ain't going to conspiracy or nothing like this. This is just true fact. COVID-19 has diminished so greatly in every other country in the world. Now, on one hand, we can say that it diminished in every country of the world because all those countries, they quarantined themselves properly. The government jumped in now. But there's something that we don't think about. Americans are one of the most unhealthiest countries in the world. Physically, we are very unhealthy. Our kids today got every freaking allergy in the book, right? We are obese like nobody's business. It is not a surprise that America gets hit at the hardest by any kind of pandemic whatsoever because we are in a root state of unhealthiness. Not the virus, at our root. We're acidic. We eat processed food all the time. We don't eat fruits and vegetables. So we naturally are in a situation of unhealthiness. That's the root. People, if everybody was building strong immunities, then we would not be hit by as hard as by any sickness. Flu virus, cold virus, COVID, don't matter. It wouldn't matter. So what is the root? We got to get to the root of what is the problem. You know, I got some root problems that I had to deal with so that I don't take it out on my spouse. Right? It's funny how so many people always talk about I got to get myself together to be married. You know how like when people go through a bad relationship, and then they be like, oh, well, I'm getting ready for my husband. I'm getting ready for my wife. I'm getting myself ready. Like a dude be like, oh, I'm getting ready for my wife. So I'm gonna get me, I gotta have a good job. I gotta have an education. I gotta have a house. I gotta have a car and all that. But yet you walking around, your daddy used to abuse your mama, and you got a root problem of flying off the handle and abusing women. You grew up watching a whole bunch of porn, and now you have a non-realistic idea of sexuality.
Misconception of what it's supposed to be like.
You also kept watching porn, and you think intimacy is, you go up to the door with a pizza, and she like, "Hi, big boy," and the 70s music starts playing, and that's intimacy to you. So you now went and got your house, you got your car, you got the good job, you got the nice clothes, you in the gym all day, and you got the good bod, but you beat your wife, you keep her on a leash of finances, you talk to her negatively, so you ain't dealt with the root. And so when y'all get in these arguments and she's like, you don't care for me, and he just run around telling us, well, I bought you this, I got your house, I do that. But you ain't dealt, you treating her like she trash. Right? And then the root of the woman, you letting him treat you like you trash. Because you've seen other women around you and in your family get treated like trash, and they made you think that was love.
That was okay. Right.
So we got to get to the root of the problem. We got to dig deep, right? So when your spouse, so when y'all are arguing about every little thing, what's the root of it?
Right.
That's the question. And we gotta come to it with careful criticism.
Caring criticism.
Careful, caring criticism.
Caring criticism.
And non-judgment. Non-judgment. Because if we're judging our spouse constantly, if we take, then how is she or he going to become what we need them to become in order to get to that root, which
Right.
is vulnerability?
Right. How they comfortable enough to accept what you're saying. If you're coming to them at a point where they feel embarrassed, and they feel like they can't open up. They can't open up. So that's good. So we have to admit there's a problem. When our spouse says to us, "It hurts me when you do this or when you do that," or "I need more of this from you," or "I need more of that from you," and you respond in a negative way, and you respond, to try to bite back at them when all they're trying to do is tell you how it's making them feel and how they see it's affecting you, then you're not admitting the problem and accepting that there is a problem. So first we have to admit there's a problem and accept what our spouse is saying so we can understand that there is a problem and we have to get to the root of that problem, like he said. Because one of our points was saying we're powerless when our past causes us to continue to have problems. We're powerless in our relationship. We're powerless in it moving forward. Firecrackers go off every night for whatever reason, and the little dog loses his mind.
I know.
So he'll be all right in a minute. But we're powerless. We're powerless to our relationship building to another level when we allow our stuff to keep us trapped. Moment of vulnerability, because we like to talk about real stuff.
That's right.
And ladies, and this may be some of the gentlemen's issues as well, I don't know. But I think a lot with the ladies, we tend to have trust issues. And trust issues can stem from our relationships with our fathers early on. It can stem from a relationship with someone who broke our trust, who, like he said, may have been abusive to us, may have just treated us bad. So when we get in a relationship with someone who's not that person, he's not that guy, he doesn't do those things, it's hard to see the forest for the trees. It's hard to see that I can trust him and I don't have to be on guard and I don't have to not allow myself to open up and be powerless in my relationship to move to the next level. And it's going to take that other person to help you with that. Dealing with my spouse's stuff. Larenzo deals with my lack of trust. That's my stuff. He deals with my lack of trust.
Patience.
I was just going to say it. But what helps is some very careful, powerful words. Love you. Love you too, Debbie. That is great. Thank you for chiming in. Y'all, please chime in. Let us know what you think. That's Anik's mom.
Okay. Gail said.
Yeah, say hey, Gail. Hey, Gail. Thank you. Lost my thought.
Oh, that I patience.
Oh, right.
Patience. See,
My issue is trust.
Saw that patience right there.
My issue is trust. I came from a relationship that someone felt like that they could physically control me. Okay. Thought that they could mentally control me. Thought that they could control me this way and try to separate and break me off from the things that I was used to, and that, I was doing. But I come from a strength of women that and a set of men that say that's not okay. But in the process of that, I'm like, okay, I opened myself up. I was married to my ex-husband 14 years, 2 wonderful children. My son Rajan, I can't stand you. He don't ever call me. He in London. Our daughter Charisma was the best thing that ever came out of that situation. And although my first marriage didn't deal with abuse, there were just other things that broke down the trust barriers. And then the last relationship is where the physical part came in, where he felt like he could physically abuse me and control me. So, of course, Larenzo and I being friends for so long, he knew a lot of stuff that I was dealing with. he knew stuff that I had and my layers of that onion that had to be peeled. And when he decided that he wanted us to be together, and we decided together after 7 years of friendship and him saying, hey, we're going to do this thing.
That's right.
I literally had to make a decision if I could deal with a new relationship, because I knew I had stuff. I knew I had stuff. Yes, I know he's in Spain. I knew I had stuff. But the difference was, gentlemen, because a lot of y'all go into, I wasn't him. Why you going to treat me like that? It wasn't me that did this and did that and did this and did that. No, it wasn't you.
Just say it in your mind.
It wasn't you. And no one should be treated in a manner where they didn't do something and they have to be affected by it or they have to be punished for it. But when you have someone that has the patience and understanding that you have stuff and they care for you and love you enough to help you deal with your stuff, the unpacking becomes easier. It gets easier and easier and easier. And it gets easier.
Oh, I was supposed to chime in.
Yeah, it gets easier.
I was waiting.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, yes. Yes. Yes.
But
yes.
But it gets easier. Oh, sorry. But the point is,
look, y'all. Earlier today, she tried to snatch my beard off my face.
Well,
go ahead.
I was trying to.
She tried to snatch my
mask because we were on speaker and I thought the person couldn't hear him, and I grabbed all. I'm sorry. So anyway, the patience and understanding that although I may be coming at him, I'm really not coming at him. And I have these layers and these walls that keep me from just opening up and keep me from receiving what I deserve. It's that stuff. And it's the patience that that other person has to have. No matter which direction it goes, whether it's the man or the woman. No, turn it.
Oh, yeah, it's keep moving.
Yeah, it keeps moving. It's dealing with your spouse's stuff and having that patience and knowing that Ursula says smart man. And knowing that if I have the patience, because love is patient, love is kind. If I have those things, then it's going to take over the stuff that's causing the issue.
Right. So patience. It takes a lot of patience, right? And not only does it take patience, it takes what most people would refer to as servant leadership. Whereas, like Babe was just saying, you can't come in with a hammer. Yeah, you want to get defensive. You want to be like, I didn't do these things to you. Why are you treating me this way? I didn't cheat on you. Why are you treating me like that? You know, that was something that I had to deal with, is that I have been cheated on 3 times. And in the cheating on 3 times, it wasn't like, and I know people have their one-sided stories, but this is just the truth of it. I was being the gentleman. I was being, the romantic. I was being the guy that whatever you like. So not only was I cheated on, I was being taken for granted while being cheated on, which is probably why they cheated. I don't know. But the thing is, after the first one hurt me, the second one broke me, the third one pissed me off. So this got shut down. This got like Inspector Clouseau on people. Like I'm digging into every aspect of everything. But I realized that when I was talking about men got to get prepared, I had to prepare my mind and my heart before I came to her, because I wasn't going to put that on her. But I realized it took a lot of work. So when you see that your spouse got these issues, that they got stuff, you have to get yourself in a position to remember that you once had stuff too. And so you know that it's not a personal attack, but you got to lead through this thing. You got to lead by serving, but not being a doormat.
Right.
You know, just because she got stuff don't mean she get to act how she want to act.
Right.
Just because she got stuff don't mean she get to say whatever she want to say or do whatever she want to do. It don't work that way.
Mm-hmm.
And just because you know that you didn't do it don't mean you get to act, say, and do whatever the heck you want to do either. You have to be able to know when to go hard and when to come soft.
Mm-hmm.
And when to sit and listen and just dude's secret. 90% of the time they just want y'all to listen. All right? Really don't want you to answer. Don't want you to solve it. Just listen. That's all they really want. They'll tell you when they want you to solve it. Right? Because we like to fix it.
Right.
All men love to fix it. We like to show up with the wrench and the tool belt
and the cape
and fix it. But you have to realize when to back off and realize she's going through her stuff, and to love her through her stuff. And you gotta love him through his stuff too, right? Because I didn't trust for a long time. And even when me and baby first got together, that seed jumps up.
Mm-hmm.
It pops up sometime. Okay, I'm gonna tell y'all something. Still deal with stuff. We in the store today. Good looking brother come in. I ain't been to the gym. And me and baby been arguing about me going to the gym. Not arguing that she's trying to stop me. Whole nother story. Whole different kind of argument.
Different.
Right. But I really want to get back in the gym because I know working out at home ain't gonna do it. Dude was looking good. Tight. Young dude too. Ain't got no gray in his beard. Now I know my baby. If she looked at him and thought in her mind he handsome, or even looked at him, I know she ain't finna run off with this man. Especially because he had a 3-year-old. But she ain't finna run off with this man.
He was ugly.
But for a split second, I looked in her direction to see where my eyes were. Right? Just for a split second. And then in that moment, I had to tell myself, why? Why are you doing that? She ain't finna run off with him. She ain't finna go out and get his number. She ain't finna go and slip him some paper. But even if she did, then she ain't mine anyway. She don't need to be with me anyhow.
Stuff.
So why would I get all worked up about that? But you want to know why I got worked up about that? Because in the past, that's how it happened. You know, it was the casual thing, and I trusted, and that's how it happened. But I had a moment. But I had to realize that stuff I'm carrying. Is she that kind of person? She ain't that kind of person, so why am I putting that on her? The other people kind of showed me that they could be that kind of person, or, you know, within the process, right? So even now, I still have split-second moments, but I have to correct it. But I know I can't put that on her, right? I can't put that stuff on her. That's a me thing, right? And the other part of me said, well, get your butt in the gym. Regardless, just get in the gym. Because work it out.
So we have some comments here.
Oh, really?
On YouTube, Gail said, her husband's name is John. Hey, Gail and John. So it's the opposite for me because John's stuff was lack of trust due to his ex-wife's behavior. After talking and praying with him, he realizing I'm not his ex, and you're right, it does get easier. Because they dealt with the stuff.
Yeah.
They talked about it. They prayed together about it. They dealt with the stuff because the stuff is there, and they dealt with it. Paul Rogers, my brother-in-law. Hey, Paul and Claudette.
Yep, Paul.
Paul says, amen. Men love to fix it. Now we like to process it until it's all mixed up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Process it.
Yep.
Okay, that's dealing with the stuff.
And you got to deal with it. And you have to deal with her stuff. You got to deal with your stuff. And it can become a burden, but that's only if y'all fighting over it.
Right.
And fighting about it and keep on trying to hurt each other.
Mm-hmm.
If you really want to make it work, then you start getting to the root of it and then start dealing with it from that point. have little triggers and clues that makes you get yourself back right, or recognize, like, there are certain things. I recognize my baby is my baby. She got her stuff. She just telling y'all one point. She got her stuff. Sometimes when she in her stuff, I get mad. I get frustrated. I'm cussing in my mind, right? But go ahead, clutch your pearls. But I had to start establishing triggers to get me in the right mindset to be able to deal with her stuff, right? So, like, we had a big stuff last week.
Ooh.
Big stuff, right? Big stuff.
Big. Huge.
So I had to go sit. But my trigger, I recognized where I was at, and it was gonna go further. It would have went further, super south. You know, if I let it get to me that way. So I had to go sit and meditate. I had to just stop talking to her. I had to go sit and that's for me, or whatever y'all do. But that's a trigger for me. I go in and I meditate. If y'all saw our wedding video, you know, before we got married, I was in a meditation position. I'm meditating. I had to get myself right. And I had to clear all the things about me and clear the way so that I can actually see my wife, right? You got to be able to see your spouse, because how can you bring it to them, their struggle or their stuff, if you can't see them correctly? If you got jaded lenses on, you're not going to see them, and it's going to create even bigger problems. So you got to create triggers that allows you to see your spouse in a way that you can now come to her or him, listen to them, and then talk to them in such a way. And here's the biggest thing, guys. It's not about attacking the stuff all the time.
Right.
Oftentimes, it's reaffirming your spouse, right? So I'm gonna tell y'all one of the things. So when I say it wasn't just one thing; it was a few things.
It just.
As my baby said in the beginning, I opened the store. The store was open, and I say I on this one. I opened the store on June 18th.
A Thursday.
My wife was at work. We've been going through it. She's been helping me. We've been getting everything set up to open the store, and I opened the store on Thursday. She wanted to have a big grand opening. That grand opening happened this past Sunday, right? Or we could have opened, or in her mind, we could have opened the Sunday after that Thursday. She was big mad, felt betrayed, felt like, and actually in one of the statements was, "This is why I don't trust," right? Instead of attacking her sensibility of, "I'm not your ex, I ain't do this, I ain't trying to steal it," what I had to I had to take her by the arm and say, "Look, my purpose for opening this as soon as possible on that Thursday was to make sure that I'm putting us in a position to take care of you. I wasn't thinking about having grand openings and all that kind of stuff. The only thing I'm thinking about is I need to open this store so that more finances can come into the house, so that the burden can be placed fully all on me financially, so that she doesn't have to worry about anything, so that in 5 years from now, well, not in 5 years, I was thinking like in 5 months, I had to tell her that, you know, I don't want, in 5 months, I want us to be in a even better financial position, opening up another store, you know. So my thought process of opening was taking care of you. That's it, right? So I had to reaffirm that this was my purpose. It wasn't to hurt you, wasn't to take from you, wasn't to take no glory, no credit. It wasn't to exclude you. It was purely to better our family. So I spent the instead of coming into the room, well, let me tell you, I ain't do it, and I ain't gonna be no more of you getting mad and fussing and getting all in your feelings, and you still hanging on to the past. I ain't them. You knew I was an entrepreneur from one day we met, and this ain't Vegas. We ain't doing no soft openings and then, you know, regular openings. We open. You know, instead of coming to the room like that, it was, baby, I need you to understand. I'm hoping that you understand that the only reason I open as soon as I possibly can is because I want to take care of our family. I want our family to grow financially. I want us to be stable, even more stable than we are right now. I want us to have a foundation so firm that we can go away for 3, 4, 5, 6 months, 7, 8 years, and come back and always have more finances up under us to be able to live the life that we wanted, to share more experiences. That's why I opened up as soon as I possibly could. Because I also know that you have an expectation that I man up and make sure that I get things done. And why would I sit around where there's a viable store right there that could viably bring us funds, and I'm just sitting around not making any money from it and just creating more financial hardship? I opened it for us. I had to open it. It ain't about me. And she melted.
Because I totally appreciate that. I did.
But you see what I'm saying, fellas?
But it was the stuff that got me upset. It had me in my mind. It had me in my feelings when it happened. But how he handled it helped me with my stuff. It helped me to realize it's not what I was thinking. It's not what it used to be. And it's not a problem that I have to worry about.
Right.
Good job, babe.
Give me the sugar. That's right. But I'm sorry, I'm supposed to be serious. But that's the thing. I mean, we got to be able to. The best way to handle your spouse stuff is to reaffirm them and show them that how different you are from the previous, from everything that they experienced, right? And it goes down even to the deepest of things. And sometimes you have to do things that's out of your norm, right? Out of your norm. I knew of a couple where the wife had experienced sexual abuse. So, and what I learned from that couple is that the guy for 5 years, I never told you this one, but for 5 years, he asked her permission every time they made love. Like, may I have permission to kiss you? May I have permission to kiss you on the neck? He asked permission. May I have permission to make love to you?
Wow. He
He asked permission for 5 years. 5. Before she said, you don't have to ask permission anymore.
Wow.
So, that dude also showed me patience.
Yeah.
I was like, how old was I then? I was maybe like 23 when I met him. But for 5 years, yeah, I was 23. Now I think about it. I was 23. But for 5 years, that's what he did. Asked permission before he made love to his wife. Before he even kissed her, he asked permission. Just to help her heal from sexual abuse that she experienced when she was a child. Now, mind you,
That's love.
oh wow, that's weird. They were in their 40s when I met them. Oh dang, so he got to be in his 60s. So they was in their 40s when I met them, right? But that's what they did for 5 years, right? And it took that long for them to have a child. Because she didn't want to bring a child into the world in that situation, right? So
that is love.
you gotta sometimes you gotta look outside your norm, outside of what you would do, and think about what can I do to help my spouse.
To help my spouse.
Right.
Yeah.
What can I do to help my spouse? And it takes a lot of looking internally on both sides.
Right.
Because once I look internal to see my stuff, but also to see how I can help my spouse, my baby got to look inside herself to see her stuff.
Right.
I got to look inside myself to see my stuff. So, and that's we can explore space. We can explore under the water. We can explore the mountains and explore the caves. We can explore all that stuff. But the scariest place that we are so afraid to explore is ourselves. We are so afraid to go deep in here and deep in here. Right?
Which means we have to learn to take a moral inventory of ourselves.
Yeah. That's speak.
Especially when your spouse is having an issue. Because the whole thing is, why are you here? We ask that question, why are you here? Why am I here? When I get angry and upset with him, I have to ask myself, why am I here? Why am I here? And I realize all the things and reasons why I'm here override what I'm upset about and what I'm mad about. We have never gone more than 24 hours being upset and angry with each other. Even when it's big mad. Like big, like
last Sunday, big
ooh,
mad.
like Father's Day was big mad. Like I left for some hours and drove and big mad. But when we came back together, when I got back, he was upset. Like he was gone too. He was like, I don't ever think I've seen him as mad as I did on Sunday. And I ain't gonna lie, y'all, it got a little it was a little unnerving. I mean, I know he ain't going nowhere, but I'm like, wow, he is upset. But I'm like, I'm even more upset. Like I'm the one that was upset first anyway. But it was a reevaluation of, do we stay mad with each other for what purpose and to what point and to what end, or do we realize why we're here and work that thing out? Mm-hmm. So I had to do a self-inventory. And of course, at the time, I wasn't thinking of a self-inventory because we hadn't gone over our notes. But it just says that there's growth, because without even knowing I was self-inventorying, I was doing that. I was looking at why I was mad. I was looking at, I pretty much went over everything that happened. And of course, when I got back, I was still in my feelings. I was still upset. I was still hurt. And then he didn't respond to me like I thought he would, like he normally does. And I'm like, okay, so we taking this thing all the way.
Yep.
And we did. We went at it. Like, we went at it. We argued. We fussed. Of course, we don't get physical. That's not even an option or a thought. But we argued. We were upset. But before the day was over, it is. Anger with the spouse is wasted energy.
It is.
So right. So right. Before the day ended, we were back to happy.
We were back to happy. Y'all know it. You got to get back to happy.
That's his thing. Back to happy.
I don't believe, like G-Man just said, anger with the spouse is a waste of energy.
It's a waste of energy.
You got to get back to happy, because there's no point in it. And when she left, when we had this big argument, I still had things I had to deal with, and I had to put smiles on my face, right, to deal with, because I was at work. I had to go back to work, right? And
Jose.
Huh?
He said it's Jose, Coach.
Oh, what's up, Jose? How you doing, mate? So I had to, and I had to take self-inventory as well, and I had to evaluate the situation, and I had to say, okay, what did I do to create this situation? Because what can I do to resolve this situation? Self-inventory. Am I being stubborn? Am I being stuck on my emotions? Am I casting things onto her that comes from my past? Am I being mean? Am I being rude? Am I being sarcastic? And the thing about that moral part of the inventory, is any of that right? There is righteous anger, yes. But at that moment, is what I'm doing right, or is it wrong? Am I being, you guys always know, I say back to happy, but there's another thing I always say as well. Do unto others as you will have them do unto you. I firmly believe that the whole world can be a paradise if we follow that one rule.
Right.
Do unto others as you have them do unto you. Love the person how you would want them to love you. Speak to the person how you would want them. That's the moral inventory. Speak to the person how you would want them to speak to you. So I don't curse at my wife, because I don't want my wife cursing at me. I won't hit my wife because I don't want my wife hitting me. I don't yell at my wife because I don't want my wife yelling at me. I'm not going to lie to my wife because I don't want my wife to lie to me. So I take a moral inventory of all the things and all the ways that I would want to be treated, and then I come to her in that way. I want my wife to understand what I'm saying, so let me try to understand what she's saying. I want my wife to understand my point of view. I want her, so let me try to understand her point of view. Now, that doesn't mean you give in to everything, right, but let me try, at least take that moral inventory to try to love her the same way you want to be loved, or love him the same way you want to be loved, whatever it is. How are you?
If we literally looked at things that way and took that golden rule to heart, there would be less issues.
Yeah.
There would be less stuff and less mess to deal with. But when you come together and you say I do, and you become husband and wife, you have an obligation to one another. Like, we want to take the good stuff, but our obligation is also to deal with the stuff that comes up and we realize that our spouse has.
Mm-hmm.
Because we said for better or for worse.
That's what we say.
That's what we say.
So did you lie?
But we don't want to do it. When it comes down to the tough times, we don't want to do it. We had a comment over here.
Yeah. G-Man Jose said, I have to watch myself because of my mental health issues. My brain reacts before it thinks things through.
Mm-hmm.
And see, now if you got a documented mental health issue and you know your brain reacts before you think things through, part of your spouse's responsibility to you,
that's right,
is to recognize that is what happens.
That's what's going on.
Get out of their feelings every time something goes down. Take the time to recalibrate and see if that's where your true mindset was.
Right.
But even for you, you have to take the accountability of saying that I know I just said some mess, or I just said some stuff. Is that the truth? But let me think through it and come back.
Mm-hmm.
And he says she keeps him grounded.
Wonderful.
That's how that's supposed to happen.
Wonderful.
That's how it's supposed to happen. And there was something and I forgot it. So go
Keeping
ahead.
him grounded. Okay, let's read. So Callie, Anik, it's hard to accept our wrongs and to work at who we are, who we really are. But once it's accepted, like truly accepted, it's such a wonderful thing. For me, it's easier for me to deal before reaching a point because I remove myself and truly listen first, then respond. Before you know it, you've made changes to the flaws, etc. that you have. You make adjustments. You make changes to the flaws that you have. You make adjustments. Exactly. That is self-inventory. That's realizing that it's me I have to deal with first before I want to deal with someone else or look at them in a certain way or even expect them to deal with my stuff. Like, I can't deal with my stuff. Like, why should I expect him to deal with my stuff? But his job is to understand I have stuff. No matter how it looked at the beginning, know that things come out. I always talk about the onion, the layers being peeled. Things come out, things happen, and stuff is revealed.
You know, I don't like onion.
You don't like onion?
No, you know why?
I'm sorry. I read slow on here, Mr. Neat, because someone cracked their screen.
Oh, whatever.
And I'm trying to read through the cracks. On
Read
top of
between
that,
the lines.
on top of not having my glasses on. Okay. So over here, Paul says there is power in a soft-spoken word, especially in turbulent times. Good for you, meditating before relating to your beautiful spouse.
That's right. Gotta
That's
meditate.
right.
I meditate daily.
Mm-hmm.
No, but I meditate daily anyway.
Yeah, he does.
So
We are in prayer and meditation daily. We pray and meditate separately, and then we end it and we come together and we pray together. So daily, there is not a day that we don't get up. That's the first thing we do. Hit the alarm clock. I say mine, he says his, and we end it and we come together.
And in that vein of thought, now I remember what I was saying. In that vein of thought, I want you guys to understand. I don't particularly care what religious background you have. So don't take this as a religious statement. But there is strength in this that religions teach. And that is faith.
Mm-hmm.
But not the faith that I'm not talking about the faith that y'all think I'm talking about. I'm talking about the faith in your spouse.
Right.
How many of you, if you actually have faith in your spouse, then although the world doesn't follow the golden rule, you and your spouse would.
Right. With one another.
Y'all have you seen those couples that seem like they totally separated from the rest of the universe, rest of the world, right? Like they don't belong because they're living in their own private bubble, their own private universe. They have a faith in each other, and usually it's built over over a time of experience, but it's also built because they have dug deep within themselves. They've went through it and matched themselves up together in a way that fits and make them work. And those two people, they exist in a faith bubble between them two, where he got faith in her and she got faith in him, that they're always going to do the right thing by each other, right? So that's the goal. That's the goal. What you got over there?
Andrea. Hi, Coach Renz. It's Andrea. Met you last year at South DeKalb as you were closing up your mall store. Enjoying listening to you and your wife.
Well, Andrea, well, thank you very much for that. We enjoy you listening. Now,
we're in Stone Mountain.
We're at Stone Mountain, the gourmet.
5385 Five Forks Trickham Road,
Five Forks
Stone
Trickham Road, Stone Mountain, Georgia.
30087.
Yes. So you
come see us.
Come see us. Get some gourmet popcorn, Italian ice, and snowballs. But no, for real, we are.
Mm-hmm.
We just opened 11 days ago. Callie said, I learned a lot and grew after my last relationship, and that was something I learned about things that came up. Self-inventory. Why I'm single now, because it's things I know. It's things I know what I need and want, and I knew it was things I needed to work on. Oh, I really am tuning in. Yes, you are. You're doing
paying
it.
attention. Big girl.
Yeah.
That's right.
Andrea
That's
said,
my sister, yeah.
says, shameless plug. I'll come out and treat myself to some popcorn.
All
Yes,
right.
it is a very shameless plug.
It is.
But there's no shame in it.
And we put plugs everywhere.
Everywhere. But that's the thing, because when you do that though, when you have faith in each other that you know you're going to treat each other the best.
Don't forget chocolate.
Yeah, we have chocolate treats too. What it does is open up a vulnerability. It opens up a vulnerability between the two of you. Now, the word vulnerability has gotten a bad, it's gotten a bad rap.
Right.
All right. Vulnerability is not a weakness, people. It's not. But there is strength in your vulnerability. It takes it's actually, being vulnerable is actually the complete opposite of being weak. It takes the strongest person to be vulnerable.
That's right.
Because the strongest person, like I gave the example of the $1,000 and the $1 million earlier, but the vulnerable person says that in order for me to have the most, I must give the most. I must allow for the most. And it is the weak person that says that I must hold on tight to the little bit that I have and only give out a little bit, because then you'll only receive a little bit. It's like investing. You know, if there's a great investment and you only put $1 in, well, you're only going to get $2 back. But if you put $200,000 in, then you get $200 million back. Mm-hmm. It's the bigger the risk, the bigger the reward. That's just natural law. That's just the way it works, right? That's just the way natural law works. The bigger the risk, the bigger the reward. The smaller the risk, the smaller the reward. So in your relationship, if you don't risk anything, then you're not going to get anything. Mm-hmm. But being vulnerable is a strength. Is the strongest person. Just like also being vulnerable is not a loss of control, but it is actually having control. You see, the person who is not vulnerable and they're holding on to everything is the person who is letting their past control them. That person is not in control of themselves, their thoughts, their actions, their love, none of those things. They have given that a control away to whoever the people who hurt them in the past. Whereas the vulnerable person, they are giving out their vulnerability. They are giving the opportunity for someone to love them correctly. They're in control, and they are strong because they are dictating how they're going to be treated by the other person, by making sure that it is understood. I do these certain things because of this past. But I'm not gonna do those things to you. I'm gonna free myself to you. Okay, guys, I'm gonna be extremely, extremely transparent. All right, extremely. Very few people in the world know this.
Yeah, right.
Very few. But I'm going to tell y'all this. As a child, I was molested. All right, and not that soft molestation, like full hardcore molestation. To the point where when I play football, that pat on the butt thing, no, we fighting. They call it homophobia. I wasn't homophobia. I was pissed off and mad at every homosexual because it was a homosexual that did it. Right? Even a woman touching my butt was hell no. For decades. You understand? But I realized that was holding me back from truly loving my wife or being able to love a wife, right? Because I had to start realizing this even before me and baby started dating. And actually, I knew because this was gonna be my last time. I was like, I need, as Elder T would say, I had to put the naked monkey on the table, and I had to deal with the fact that this was something that was holding me back, right? That it warped my sense of sexuality, it warped my sense of intimacy. And it made me cringe if you touch me in certain areas. I can have jeans on and a burlap bag. Don't touch me, right? But I had to let that go because that put a barrier between our intimacy, right? I had to deal with that. And one of the hardest things in creation was to actually tell her that. You know how hard it is for a man to tell his future wife that you was raped as a child? And yeah, everybody say, well, it wasn't your fault. That's what you say, but that ain't how it feels. You know what I mean? So, but here's the thing I realized. In telling her, I controlled the narrative, right? She learned as much information as I was willing to give. And the way she came to me made me recognize it was okay for me to say it, for me to tell her. Right? And which made it okay for me to deal with it on a whole nother level. It's one thing to deal with it. I dealt with it through anger. Then I dealt with it by coming to peace with myself. Now I learned to deal with it by actually communicating and coming to peace with my spouse so that if she touched me on my butt, it doesn't bother me. I don't cringe. Well, I ain't gonna lie. First time she touched me on my butt, I cringed. I tightened up. You know, even the first time she slapped me on my butt, there was a part of me that was like, but I had to, you know, learn how to enjoy the fact that if she came up behind me and look, dudes, I was at a point where she came up behind me and held me from behind, I felt some kind of way. But do you know how much foundational satisfaction, how much security there is, especially when you're having a hard go at something and your wife comes up and holds you from behind? That's like a I got you kind of thing. But I couldn't experience that, you know, until now. Because I was holding on to stuff. I was holding on to something. Now, if I was holding on to that, and I was able to let that go, what y'all holding on to? Somebody cheated on you? Somebody stole some money from you? You know, somebody beat you, that's hard. But I'm just saying.
The past.
This the past. And the past, if the past is controlling you, you weak. Strength is not allowing your past to control you. Strength is being vulnerable enough in order to let somebody into your heart, into your mind, into your everything. Right? So, yeah. Oh, there's a comment? Yeah, we need a segue from that. My respect for you just got bigger. Oh, I appreciate that. And it ain't hard. It ain't easy telling you. And here's the thing: telling y'all, it was easier than I thought. Because I thought about this earlier, and I was like, I ain't telling them people that. I ain't telling my business. Forget y'all. Y'all don't need to know all that. But the fact of the matter is, I know men deal with that on a whole nother level. A lot more men have been molested and led on.
Right.
And we have no safety. We have no safety because we're looked upon as if something's wrong with you if that happened, right. Regardless of the age, you know, regardless of the age. So, yeah. So can you get that vulnerable? That's the question. I mean, if you really want true happiness, you got to get that
You
vulnerable.
have to.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah. Yep.
So that couldn't have been easy? No. But it was a lot easier. But you got it. See, love is, if you put love on a scale, extreme happiness over here, like delighted, you know, you living in whatever, in the kingdom, in Shangri-La, in Samadhi, you know, you nirvana is over here. And hell, and prana, and degradation, and that's over there. Most people like to hang somewhere in the middle.
In the middle.
And you just float a little bit. In order for you to go to heaven, you got to risk going to hell. In order for you to go to Samadhi, you got to risk going to devastation.
Mm-hmm.
In order for you to get to nirvana, you got to risk prana. You got to you got to risk the whole scale in order to get to here. But once you get to here, and you start seeing any triggers that move you back, you know how to get right back to there. That's the confidence in it. It's called the law of polarity, or polarization, actually. The law of polarization is to position yourself where you remain at this high end. Because you recognize, oh shoot, you know what? The things ain't as happy as they were yesterday, so let me get it back to happy. To a happier level, because I've got to polarize and stay over here. And not allow things to, you know, build up. And next thing you know, you want a voice and you want like, well, she changed and he changed and blah, 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 blah. Nah, y'all had greatness, but you scared. You got to be willing to get to greatness by risking it all. But then when you get there, you stay there by keeping it going, keeping the fire burning, keeping the trust going, you know, by being able to, you know, there are things that I can not say rather. What was that? I forgot where I was at. Walmart. Was it Walmart?
I don't know, baby.
That lady was flirting. I tell you.
Oh,
So this
yeah,
lady
Walmart.
was flirting with me at Walmart, right? Tried to get my number. I told her I was married. I said something like, I'm good with my wife, something like that. But she was trying to flirt with me because I did something like, I just took the buggy and she said something. I don't know. It was something. I forgot what it was now. I could have went on about my day and never said anything to my wife about that, and that would have been fine. But I told my wife about it. You know why? Because I want her to know that, you know, I ain't got nothing to ever hide. This is not going, like, 3 years from now, slip out, oh, that's just like that woman at Walmart. When I took her buggy, she'd be like, what? What woman at Walmart? Well, what else haven't you told me? It's not that I'm reporting to her, but what I'm doing is making sure she understands that I don't have anything to hide from her, right? Because we got to keep the happy, stay at the happy, the high end of the scale, right? And stay there instead of trying to slip back. But I'm not willing to stay in this middle ground either, right? So I also tell her these things so that we can move forward, get past these issues so that we don't stay in that middle ground. Because the middle ground sucks. That's for losers. Okay, I'd rather you just go. Look, you know how, like, what is it? The Catholic Church Catholic Church and Muslim has 7 levels. 7 levels of heaven, 7 levels of hell. Right? So, to me, it's like either take me all the way to heaven or take me all the way to hell. I ain't got time to be playing no little limbo games.
Right.
You know, one or the other, A or B, hot or cold. You know, wet or dry. You know, not like, I'm serious. Like, I either submerge me in water and let me be wet, or let me be completely dry. Don't give me that in the middle kind of squishy feeling.
Right.
Or like when my shoes in that water and I had to walk around for like 2 hours with shoes that was soaking wet. Don't give me the mushy. Hot, cold. That's all I want to know. You know.
Gail said my husband had the same experience and really just started talking about it in the last 2 years after being married over 20 years.
Yeah.
Because like he said, men tend to that's different for men. They're looked at different. They're looked upon different in different ways. But I'm glad that he decided, even though it took that long, that he decided to finally open up, because I'm sure that helped you deal with some of his stuff. You may not have known why he had that stuff. I'm sure that's something that a lot of men, some men may deal with. They have that stuff, ladies, of being molested and being taken advantage of. And we don't know because when they do say something, they're looked at in a certain way. It's not looked at as if a girl said that her uncle touched her or her cousin or a family friend.
Right. Yeah, we don't get that empathy.
Right. It's looked at different. So, ladies, we have to be that for them. If your spouse comes to you and tells you that they've dealt with that, you can't make him feel less than.
Mm-mm.
You have to you have to be there.
Right, you sure do.
Greetings from the south side of Houston, y'all. Hey, Rick.
All right. Houston in the house. But,
right.
I mean, yeah, so, guys, you got to be able to be vulnerable with each other, non-judgmental, taking that self-inventory, checking your morals at the door, not checking your morals at the door, but doing that self-inventory, so that you are of your morals. I always ask the question, why are we together? Why are we here? What's the purpose of this?
Right.
Right? And if you're going to do it, do it.
Yeah. And because your spouse acts a certain way, try to unpack what that stuff is. Try to realize why. And like he said earlier, it's not an excuse or a pass to act a butt. It's not. Because you have to deal with it. If you say, I do, or if you say, will you marry me, and she says, I do or I will, you take all of that stuff on. You take it all on. So that means you are obligated to deal with their stuff. What? Why are you laughing?
Nothing.
You are obligated to deal with their stuff. What?
I don't know. I might get in trouble if I say something, so I ain't saying nothing.
Really?
Nah. I was just thinking about, okay, guys, let me tell y'all something. Let me tell y'all about my wife. I'm finna tell some of her stuff. Let me get my sugar right now, just in case I don't get nothing later. I'm getting some later. Ain't that right, Claudette? I just, something she just said it's funny to me. So, my wife, I love her, y'all. But, in dealing with her stuff, she has always said, you chose to come into this. You chose to marry me. You chose. But You asked. But then I started about a month ago, dropping in, but you said yes. You said I do. You agreed. So that means you also agreed to come into this and to have this and to be this. Now, just subtly, sometimes in joking, sometimes in debate, just kept saying it. Didn't make a big point out of it. But what she just sit up here and say? The exact same thing I've been saying to her. That's how you work it. Just saying.
True.
Just saying.
It's true.
I gotta take my wins when I get them, y'all.
It's true. It's true.
I might pay for this later, but I don't care.
It's true. No, you're not gonna pay for it.
I'll come back and watch the tape and celebrate again.
It's true.
But
it is true.
we're gonna sum this up and get on out of here, guys.
10:20. I know we started a little bit late, but we're definitely going over. So we appreciate you all coming on and spending this time. And I'm so tired. Yesterday was a long day, and today getting up early.
Yeah, and
9:30.
And I'm gonna apologize to my YouTube channel and my Facebook page. I know I haven't done a live video in like 11, 12 days. That's because we opened up Uncle Renz Popcorn at 5385 Five Forks Strickham Road, Stone Mountain, Georgia, with 26 flavors of gourmet popcorn, Italian ice snowballs, and other chocolate treats. And we also ship, but we can't ship the snowballs and Italian ice, so don't ask.
Right.
But we also ship south side of Houston.
And the treats.
Right. So
go to the letter U, the letter R, popcorn.com.
Yeah. And also, I haven't shot a video or anything because I've been working very diligently on doing a 360-degree business mentoring program, helping people to do their business plan, their marketing plan, get their finances in order, their personal and business finances.
I signed up.
How to set everything up to be like run a real business system instead of having a business that runs you. I'm doing this for free.
This is y'all
with
missing this,
asking for donations if you want to, if it's right.
Days.
But I've been getting that program ready too to launch. You know, the Wednesday after next Wednesday. So, you know, it's just been a lot. But tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock, I'm going live. Please be there. See, that's like 3 shameless plugs all in one.
We held them too late today. We
Yep.
get up in the morning.
I know y'all need to go sleep.
All right.
So we gotta go sleep.
We love you all.
Y'all have a good. I'm rubbing on my baby's butt right now.
We love you all. We appreciate you all. And we'll see you all next week. We trying to make it happen.
That's right. Remember why you're here.
Remember why you're here. Deal with your spouse's stuff.
Later.
Good night.
Good night. Hey, Munchkin. That's your.
Hi, Mom.